I was doing nails one afternoon when the woman in my chair looked right at me and said, "My husband stood up at his promotion dinner, thanked his pregnant assistant as his wife, and then asked me not to make it awkward." My hand froze mid-air over her thumbnail. I looked up at her. She gave me this tiny, sad smile, the kind that doesn't reach your eyes at all. And then she said, "Yeah." That was the night I realized my marriage had turned into a costume, one he let another woman wear. And then she started talking. Her name was Claire. She lived in Chicago. Her husband's name was Ethan. They'd been married 6 years. Not dating, not engaged, married. They'd done a quick courthouse wedding first, a small dinner after, and then a real wedding the next spring, all because Ethan's mom, Diane, said a courthouse marriage looked cheap. Claire told me that should have been my first clue. But back then, I thought Diane was just picky. I thought Ethan was just stressed. I thought if I loved him hard enough, supported him long enough, and bit my tongue through every little insult, one day, we'd finally be that perfect couple I'd always dreamed we could be. She helped him through everything. When he wanted to quit his sales job and apply for an MBA, she was the one who said, "Do it, we'll figure it out." And we really meant her. She picked up extra consulting work, paid most of the rent, cooked cheap dinners, and pretended they were romantic. She sat at the kitchen table until midnight, editing his essays because he said she was better with words. When he had interviews, she ironed his shirts. When he got rejected, she held him while he moped. And when he finally landed a good job at a medical tech company downtown, she cried harder than he did. She truly thought they'd made it. Then Vanessa showed up. At first, she was just his assistant, or so Ethan said. Just my assistant. Then she became the girl who understood office pressure. Then the one he texted during dinner because work never stops. Then the woman whose name lit up his phone at 11:40 at night while Claire sat right next to him in bed. The first time Claire asked about her, Ethan laughed. Not a normal laugh, but that soft, mean laugh people use when they've already decided you're the problem. He said, "Claire, she works for me. Don't make it weird." So she didn't, not out loud anyway. But she started noticing things. His cologne changed. His shirts smelled like perfume she didn't own. He started using words Vanessa used: optics, executive presence, family brand. One night, Claire asked what family brand even meant. He didn't look up from his phone. "It means people at my level have to present a certain way," she said. "And I don't?" That time, he looked at her slowly, like he was deciding if she was useful or embarrassing. Then he said, "You're too sensitive for these rooms." That sentence sat heavy in her chest for weeks. Too sensitive for these rooms. She'd paid for half the suit he wore in those rooms. She'd packed his lunches when he was too broke to eat near the office. She'd listened to him practice speeches in their bathroom mirror. And now? She was too sensitive. Ethan's mom, Diane, loved this new, colder version of him. She'd always looked at Claire like she was a starter wife who refused to expire. One Sunday, while Claire was making brunch, Diane walked into her kitchen and said, right to her face, "Men like Ethan don't stay small forever. A wife has to grow with him." Claire was holding a spatula. She squeezed it so hard her hand hurt. She said, "I have grown with him." Diane smiled, a tight little smile, and said, "You helped him climb. That's not the same as belonging where he landed." Ethan was standing right there by the coffee machine. He heard every word, and he didn't defend her. He just poured his coffee and said, "Mom, don't start. Not, don't talk to my wife like that, just don't start." Like Claire was the messy, annoying part of his morning. A few months later, Ethan told Claire his company was throwing a big promotion dinner. He was up for regional director. That night, he stood up in front of everyone and thanked Vanessa, his pregnant assistant, as his wife. Then he came over to Claire and said, "Don't make this awkward." After that, everything fell apart. Ethan tried to say he lost everything. Claire looked at him and said, "No, you lost the version where nobody knew." His face twisted, then softened. He actually tried to sound gentle. "Claire, I still love you." But Claire felt nothing, not anger, not sadness, just a clean, empty space where love used to be. She said, "You loved having me behind you. That's not the same thing." He started crying, real tears maybe, or fake ones. At that point, she didn't care enough to tell. He said, "I made one mistake." Claire laughed. "One mistake?" "Ethan, forgetting an anniversary is one mistake. You built a whole second marriage in public, while still sleeping in my bed." He looked away, then whispered, "Vanessa doesn't want me now." That was the truth. Not "I miss you," not "I'm sorry," just, "Vanessa doesn't want me now," Claire said. That sounds like a you problem. Then she got in her car, locked the door, and left. The divorce took months. It was ugly. Not the movie kind, but the real kind. Endless emails, lawyers, bank statements, Diane claiming gifts that were never gifts, Ethan arguing Claire had damaged his earning potential. Her attorney laughed at that. He damaged it when he lied to his employer. They sold the condo. Claire didn't want to stay there, not with the kitchen where she'd packed his lunches, the hallway where he'd ignored her, the bedroom where he'd texted Vanessa with his phone turned away. She took her share and bought a small, bright one-bedroom place. No mother-in-law key, no man's shoes by the door, no more pretending. A few months later, she ran into Vanessa at the grocery store. No drama, no yelling, just a quiet aisle. Vanessa had a little boy with her. Claire looked at him once, then looked away. He was innocent. Vanessa saw her and froze. She looked thinner, tired, not glamorous or victorious, just tired. For a second, Claire thought she might say something mean. Instead, she said, "He told me you were already gone." Claire believed her, not fully, not enough to forgive her, but enough to know Ethan had lied to everyone. She said, "He told everyone what helped him." Vanessa nodded, eyes filling up. Then she said, "Diane asked me to name the baby after Ethan's grandfather." Claire almost smiled. "Did you?" Vanessa shook her head. "Good for you," Claire thought. She just said, "Take care of your son." Then she walked away. People always ask if Claire got revenge. She says she doesn't know. She never slashed tires, never made fake social media accounts, never chased Vanessa online. But she did one thing. She told the truth in the room where Ethan needed lies the most. And honestly, that was enough. Because a man like Ethan can survive being hated, being divorced, being whispered about. But he can't survive being seen clearly. That's what ruined him, not Claire. The truth. When Claire finished telling me all this, she looked down at her hands. I'd cleaned the same nail twice. I'd been so busy listening. She gave a small, embarrassed laugh. "Sorry, that was a lot." I shook my head. "No, that was a whole crime scene, with tablecloths." For the first time that day, she really smiled. Then she held up her hand, looking at the bright, sharp red nail polish she'd picked, the kind Ethan always told her was too much attention. She said, "I used to think red drew too much attention. I capped the polish bottle. Maybe that was the point." She looked at me, quiet for a second.